Welcome to episode 801 of Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, which is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, including technology and all those things. And there are ways to support, different ways to support the show, either through Patreon. You can get extra Patreon content for as little as $1 a month, or you can also go to the merchandise store and get some shirts and bags and aprons there with different designs on them to promote the show as well. So, also, please check out the links in every episode description for friends of the show. That would be, of course, Jen, the Arcane Observer, who is the co-host of this show and has her own channel. And also Michael Strange of the Trouble Minds radio show and the Trouble Minds radio network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of my shows and many other great shows over there 24/7 online. So let me get to the file here with all the stories. Thank you all for being here. I see you all there in the Discord listening in, and I appreciate that. So let's get to the file here. Also, I apologize if you hear any sounds from the air conditioning, but been kind of warm out here lately, for Michigan anyway. This one says, oh wait, I was missing one. There we go. This one says, I sleep on a thin mattress on the floor without a bed frame. There is a wardrobe positioned directly in front of and behind the mattress. I guess they mean on the end of the mattress. While laying on the bed one day, I noticed something unusual reflected on my phone's screen, which was turned off. A ball-shaped object or something similar appeared to be on top of the wardrobe. I looked directly at the wardrobe, but there was nothing. I saw nothing there. This happened several times. If I could read, that'd be good. Each time, I checked the wardrobe after seeing the reflection, but found nothing. I was more confused than scared by the experience. Eventually, I decided to ignore this phenomenon and leave the area, and whatever I saw never appeared again. And that's where that one ends. This is there's been similar things before in other previous episodes where people have seen images of things or they've seen things reflected on the black screen of their phone or their TV. But then when they look, it's not there. And to me, that is just really amazing, because what is causing that? Is it something projecting some kind of energy or light onto the screen? Is it something, again, interacting with the person's mind to make it look like there's something on the screen? It's just really, I wonder about that, because especially when the object, well, then again, I don't know. I guess I've heard that phones can be on even when they're not, the screen is not on or anything like that. It's still running. So, but still, if the screen isn't running, then the power isn't going directly to the screen. So I don't know how that would work, obviously. But I think my favorite one, and I always bring this up whenever it comes to these accounts, my favorite account of something similar to this is this couple that had been watching TV, and they had turned off the TV because they were done. And in the reflection of the blank black TV screen, they saw instead of them sitting on their couch, they could just see this shadow figure sitting on the couch where the man was sitting, and in their room they had um, the curtains for their window. They had them closed, but in the reflection on the TV screen, the curtains appeared to be open. So not only do you have a mysterious figure on the screen, you have an ordinary mundane object that is in one position in the physical or real world, however you want to call that, and then in another position in this image or reflection or whatever it is on the screen. And it just really does, it just raises all kinds of questions. So, but anyway, so every so often one of these similar experiences, similar stories will pop up, and I'm glad, because I don't know what it is, but I think this is something that we need to keep track of. We need to pay attention to, so that maybe eventually someone will figure something out. But at the very least, we should be aware of it and just wonder about it and question how it works. So, moving on to the next story here. Also, I've been thinking, and I'll just since I'm kind of debating on it, I'll bring this up to everyone in the chat and everyone who listens to the podcast. I've been thinking of opening up these experiences shows to people who are listening on Discord live in the recording to call in on the show. Now these shows are timed, so I may have to sort of speed things up or cut people off, unfortunately, or whatever, as we get closer to the end of the episode. But I think it could be fun if anyone had any similar experiences to what I'm talking about, or thoughts and experiences, all these kinds of things. I think it might be interesting. So let me know what y'all think, and we can go from there. And you know what? Let's try this out. If anyone does want to call in tonight during these recordings of these experiences shows, go ahead and raise your hand, and if there's time, I will bring you onto the stage, and we can go from there. So why not try it out? So anyway, moving on to the next story, at least for now. I will keep watching the chat as always in Discord. Also, everyone, please check out Discord. Join the server. That's where you can listen to these shows live as they're recorded, and call in as well through Discord. So, moving on to the next story here, the next true story. This one says, I was 10 or 11. So let me scroll down a little bit. There we go. I was 10 or 11 years old and sleeping in the basement on a pull-out mattress or couch during Thanksgiving as family was visiting. The basement was fully furnished. My older brother and I gave up our regular beds for guests and slept downstairs together. I couldn't sleep because my brother kept moving around in his sleep. While lying awake and staring at the ceiling, I rolled onto my right side, facing the room, and saw a small violet or indigo hand on the ground next to the bed. The hand was glowing faintly, similar to bioluminescent sea creatures, visible in the pitch black room, but not bright enough to illuminate anything else. The hand was tiny, even smaller than my own hand at age 10, about the size of a toddler's hand. I could only see the hand. The rest of the body was obscured by the bed. Initially scared, I considered waking my brother, but he was a heavy sleeper, and we were not very close at the time. I didn't want to scream for my parents and risk waking everyone or being called a baby. After building up courage for about 10 minutes, I peeked over the bed and saw that the hand was still there, but not attached to anything. I figured that the hand must be harmless since it wasn't moving or attached to anything, but continued to watch it for the next few hours. The hand remained completely still throughout the night. Eventually, I fell asleep, and when I woke up in the morning, the hand was gone. This was the only paranormal event I ever experienced in that house, and I'm curious if anyone else has had a similar experience. So, I have heard of course, and of course, this is a common sort of horror story trope of hands and arms, even in some cases, coming out from under a bed, some kind of apparition, and even in some cases, it being physical enough to latch onto the bed and everything, and even worse situations. But this one doesn't seem like that, and I don't know what that was. If it was some kind of I don't even know, image put into the person's mind at that time, trying to get attention, but not wanting to really do anything. Uh, some kind of residual that they were picking up on that was they were only aware of. I wonder how if they had something in that basement more, would they have seen anything else down there? Is the basement in that house sort of a hot spot, but only at night, to where the people don't even know that because they don't normally, or they didn't I should say, because that was years ago, I guess. They didn't normally sleep down there. Also, I do wonder too if um, the fact that there was so many people, there was extra people in the house, that's extra energy. So I guess that could affect things as well. Um, whether it's the writer's own energy there, or I don't know. But it is an odd one because the question I have is the other question I have here is, was there consciousness? Was that uh, um, aware? Was there someone there that was aware of being there, uh, and um, and having and showing their hand just to try to get attention, or did they even know, or was it something else that was not aware, did not have sentience or whatever? It was just some kind of random energy field, energy imprint. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of just, it's very open ended as far as what it could be. It doesn't really fit into any of the common patterns or tropes that you hear about in paranormal encounters, from what I've heard over the years. So yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Let's move on to the next one here. And this one says, I was on my way back to my apartment around 11:30 p.m. I saw a middle-aged woman standing on the second story stairs, apparently coming down from the third floor, but stationary and looking over the balcony. If she was uh, merely getting some air, it seemed like an odd place and time to do it, as each apartment has its own outdoor patio, making her presence there unusual. I slowed down to avoid passing the woman directly. Suddenly, the woman walked away toward the next set of stairs, leading to the ground floor. I lost sight of her. The woman never came down the stairs, and I did not hear any doors open or close, which was strange, given the quietness of the building. From my perspective, the woman seemed to vanish without making any noise or leaving the building. At first, I did not find the situation strange, as the woman appeared normal. But when I passed the spot where the woman, can't say the word woman stood, I realized there was no way she could have left without being heard. I am tempted to ask management if any tenants matched the woman's description, but also I worry about invading anyone's privacy. And that's where that one ends. Apartment buildings can be weird that way. I think when it comes to just energy and again, it's a living space, but you have people coming and going. You have in that don't know each other. You have people staying there, and sometimes it's only for a month, sometimes it's for several months, sometimes it's for several years. I think they're kind of odd places, sort of similar to hotels in that way. So yeah, I don't know if that was a spirit of someone that had been there before, or that was there to check on someone else, or if it was someone having an out of body experience, possibly. Um, I don't know with that one, but the figures, the apparitions, or the figures that appear to be normal, that aren't glowing or aren't floating or aren't doing anything unusual. To me, those are fascinating because people don't even know at first that they're anything out of the ordinary. Uh, Sometimes, other times they do, even though they appear normal. So, but it's an extra level of. It's sort of the opposite of what you would think. It seems anyway, when it comes to sightings of anything unusual. So often you hear of apparitions being semi-transparent, translucent, glowing, not touching the floor, or in some cases, if there was a previous different floor level, you'll hear about people seeing just these figures from like the legs up, or even the waist up. Uh, so it's just all these kinds of factors. But when they look normal, it's amazing as well that there's these kinds of sightings. And I'm just trying to think here. I mean, with my first sighting with my cousin, other than the fact that there were no feet on the floor and the fact that I could see it clearly, which I shouldn't have been able to, the woman that we saw, which was just the head, um, she wasn't glowing. There was no extra light from her. Um, but I guess that is different because there were no feet on the floor. There was nothing for anyone to be standing on top of behind the clothesline there. So I'm trying to think if I've ever seen uh, what looked like a regular person apparition of like that. Uh, and I can't think of any encounters that I have where I have, um, but yeah. So let's move on to at least one more here. Get through one more. I think maybe summer camp. I may have seen one years ago. This is one of those experiences where I can't remember if I saw this, if this happened before my first experience at my cousin's house or after, because this all happened when I was a kid. But I think I mentioned this a couple times in the show, but I saw it at a couple of different places. This young man in like a military or some kind of uniform uh, at a couple of different points in a couple of different buildings on the campsite that I was at that I was staying in for 2 weeks for. I used to go to the summer camp for people with low vision or no vision for kids, actually, and so I'll go into that some other time. I think I've already gone over it on other shows before, but let's see here. Because I do want to get at least one more here. One more story here. This one says, I am a registered nurse, RN, working at a state psychiatric hospital. I was sitting outside the medication room with 2 coworkers, all of us charting together, and I mean medical charts. The hospital uses an electronic medication dispensing chest with a fingerprint reader to store and dispense medications. While sitting outside the med room, there we go, if I could read, all 3 of us heard the distinct sounds of someone shutting a cubicle and then slamming the door shut. All 3 of us exchanged confused looks and verbally confirmed that we heard the noises. This was odd because there was nobody inside the med room at the time. The only door to the med room is directly in front of where we sat, and none of us saw anyone enter or leave. After acknowledging how strange the situation was, we laughed it off and returned to our work. So that's where that one ends. I wonder if that was some kind of residual event there, or sound of things happening. I do think that can happen in places, especially maybe where it's something that you would hear on a regular basis. Or it could also be just a very minor time anomaly where they did hear that sound, but from another point in time. I don't know, but that seems weird. That and I'm glad they were able to sort of verify that they all heard it and that there was no way anyone was in there at the time. So yeah, that's basically all the time we have for this episode here. So the weird figure with the uniform, I saw him one time in a bathroom mirror, which was odd because I was looking right at it, standing right in front of it, and my reflection wasn't in it. It was this guy in this uniform instead. And I looked away because I was freaked out, and I looked back, and of course the mirror was normal again. It was me in there. Of course, that's the whole other thing with mirrors. They're just so strange. But so I don't know, a few days later, I happened to be leaving the one of the buildings that was being used for. It was actually the top floor was the medical facility, but the bottom floor, the basement, was being used as cabins because they were still building cabins at the time. And I saw this figure sitting on one of the steps, and then it just vanished. Both times it just vanished. So really odd, but that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.